it took me a long time to even articulate what it was.
Yeah.
But then every time it would happen, I would feel some type of way, man. But am I that bad of a person that I'm always the one that's in the wrong here? What's happening, elenemfam?
Hey elenemfam, welcome back to another video. My name is Letho, also known as Akuma, and today we decided to come here and expose ourselves.
Again.
You know,
Okay, that's what we're doing this year. We are vulnerable.
We are here to expose ourselves. We're just gonna be sharing the red flags
about ourselves.
So we're talking about ourselves,
So
things that don't make us.
I'm talking about my red flags.
Yes, I'm also talking about
her
my red flags. Things that don't make me a good wife, you know, like a good partner. So that's what we're talking about. My husband is here. He's going to introduce himself as well.
Yeah, what up, man? elenemfam. My name is Mr. Cham to the dial, also known as Mr. Cham, child of God. People change, but not God.
Okay. All right. That's what we're ending today.
Also known as Buddha. And I was laughing at that voice that I did. Buddha and la Igyan of the Bafondins, Rotman of the Magodins, also known as Utata Kalulo.
I like that part. Known as Utata Kalulo.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, yeah. Do you want to start? Do you want to go first?
Yeah, so we just, and the reason why we are sharing this is so that you know that no marriage is perfect or no relationship is perfect. And also self-awareness, we are big on that, like being self-aware, so that as much as you might possess these things, so like we proudly possess these things, but there are certain things
that we're working on.
Yes, that at some point you are hoping that you're gonna become better. But if you are in denial about them, then you're never gonna work on them. I mean, you know, you meet someone as you are old, and unfortunately you wouldn't know that those are actually red flags until maybe you see how the other person receives them. So my first one is communication. Yeah, my communication is bad, guys. I think I'll just put it off the bat and say my communication is bad. Obviously it has improved. You'll hear a lot of that disclaimer to say, yeah, but I have improved.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But my communication is bad, like even with the smallest things. And funny enough, this is one thing that I've noticed with certain things about our red flags. It doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't affect you when the other person does it. For instance, when my wife goes to work and the expectation, what we do is when you go somewhere else and you are alone, you do say when you arrive. And then maybe 3 hours later, you can just say, hey, I'm leaving, especially if you're going to be changing locations. But I mean, if I know you're at church, you don't really have to tell me that I'm still at church and it's all good. Yeah, but if you're going to be changing locations, so that we know that the last time I spoke to this person, they were here. So it's purely based on that. It's not even because like we are controlling one another. So you do communicate. I'm at work, babe. Okay, babe, thanks. And then, so with me, sometimes like, you know, when you're in a rush and then you leave, you get to work, you get there's a meeting already, you go into the meeting, or sometimes there's something that you just want to get out of the way. You end up forgetting. And then I'll send my wife like a message maybe 2 hours later. But when she does it, I don't like it. But then I've come to understand as well, because I do it. I've come to understand, things happen, man. You know, it's not like you're just gonna be sitting there.
Are we allowed to witness to it?
Yeah.
You'll send a message. Did you get to work? I'm like. Or something like that. Not like did you get to work, but like I'll sense from the tone of your message that you are not impressed.
Sometimes that's interesting as well, because every time when you say something that's supposed to
something that came from you,
came from me, you you put on your own tone, whereas I'm thinking, because even now you are saying, how are you gonna read that from MS? Like, that question is as neutral as possible. It depends on how you are thinking I'm saying it. Like, literally, how else are you gonna say? So you're gonna ask, did you get to work? Because you haven't said. So I'm thinking maybe you're still on the way. So yeah, my communication, and then sometimes I'll just say, hey babe, I decided. So I would only say maybe after the fact, which is not such a good thing. You know, let's say in Kambe I've got a run at work. You know, sometimes we run with people at the office when we're at the office, and then I'll just maybe when I finish working, change, go run, and then only when I come back and say, hey babe, I actually went for a run, but now I'm gonna make my way back home. Only then, you know, that type of a thing. At 6:30. So, because normally I leave the office at 3. So for 3 hours I haven't said. So someone is not knowing whether you're coming home or Gandhi, you are still running when at that time. So those kind of things, yeah. And it's always actually been bad. My communication has been bad. It doesn't start now. There would be a time when I used to disappear. Without saying anything.
But one day, well, I think sometime this year.
Yes, we'll share that one. Yeah. So, guys, here I am, bad communicator. While you're on that, comment on the comment section and tell us what is your red flag. What or what do you think is a red flag, and what are you doing about it? Yeah.
Okay, cool. I feel like mine is a big one.
As long as it's big.
I think for me, it's like whenever we argue, I always come from a point of righteousness in a way, you know. And I wasn't aware of this until my husband brought it up. Like, and I was like, actually, you're right, you know, because my husband in the past, most of the times, whenever we argue, he'll be the one who is on the wrong side. Wow.
So the argument would have stemmed from something that I would have done.
So we like, that's
so
most
trying
of our,
to correct.
Yeah, so most of our arguments will come from that. So now here's a man of God, he's now born again, serving a church, man of the house, a responsible man. But even when we argue right now about things that are not similar to the things that we used to argue about in the past, I'll still come from that point of saying, you're the one who needs to fix your actions. So that's what I've noticed. Well, that's what he made me aware of, and I was like, actually, you're very right, and that's what I'm working on right now, to say maybe I need to also check my actions. Maybe there's something that I also did wrong that led to this argument. So it's not just about him needing to fix himself. I also may have something that I need to look into and fix. Yeah.
And it was actually very hard for me to communicate that, because it can also be offensive when you're saying someone is self-righteous. So you really need to, it took me a long time to even articulate what it was. But then every time it would happen, I would feel some type of way, man. But am I that bad of a person that I'm always the one that's in the wrong here? And the expectation from your side is always, well, no, you're gonna have to do something about that, like that type of a thing. And whereas I know, but no, this one, no, it's not that. So it took me a bit of time to be able to articulate, and so it just, I'm just thinking about it now. But actually, I think it's very important to also be patient with a certain thought, and so that you don't share it prematurely. Because I mean, I could have shared it. Maybe I wouldn't have the right words to actually express what it meant to me, and you wouldn't have received it the way you received it when I eventually when I was able to actually.
But I also think that argument that we had at that time when that came up was
let's call them disagreements, because not all of these are arguments. It could just be where we are not agreeing.
Because argument sounds like we are shouting at each other, which is something we don't do. So when we had that disagreement, it came from, it related to something that had happened in the past. So when you brought it forward, I was like, actually, you're right. When I now analyze some of the disagreements that we had, I was like, actually, you're right. You know, even when the disagreement is not about this, it's about something else, maybe food or whatever. I would always think, you are wrong. I mean, like, you are always wrong. I'm always doing the right thing. I'm always like cooking and doing everything right. And here you are not communicating when you're coming from, when you're going for a run, you know? Yeah, so it's, and then my second one is I get very easily irritated. To such an extent that, guys, I even went for a checkup some years back. What are these glands called? So apparently if you have an elevated thyroid gland, like they produce whatever they produce, which suppresses your happy hormones, what happens is that you become like very easily irritable. There's a condition, hyperthyroid condition, what that makes you very, very hyper irritable. When I went there, the doctor said to me, it's probably not even that, because usually men don't, it hardly ever happens to men. It will, even though even hardly ever happens even with women, but there's a better chance that it will happen to a woman. It still happens even now, like where you'll just be asking something and I'm thinking in my head, really, are you really gonna ask me that right now?
Yeah, right now. Like, are you serious? Are you gonna? I've just opened my eyes and you're gonna be asking me that? Or I just got home. Are you really gonna be telling me about someone who's not available to serve at church? Really? Like, I just got home. Don't you wanna tell me but like something positive that's also based about our home and not something else? That's so that's kind of things like. And I also don't understand when you don't understand something that's supposed to be common sense type of thing. Okay.
All right, so my second one is being an extremist. So so for instance, I'll make an example, like either we are on this side, we are on that other side. So last week we shared a video about YouTube and how like my husband is the one who's normally like the one who gives the green light, say yes, let's shoot. When he says, I know, let's not shoot, we're tired, let's go take an apple. I mean, like, he's the head of the family, he's the leader, I respect him as the leader of the family. But sometimes you'd find that I want to do something, like I want to shoot for YouTube. And when I can see this week you said we mustn't shoot, next week again, you keep on saying we mustn't shoot, my mind will go, you know what, let's just delete this YouTube channel. Delete all the social media, delete Instagram even. Let's just delete it.
That's you.
And like at that moment, I really mean it. I'm like, if you're no longer shooting, I'm going to have not been shooting. Like, why do we have?
Damn camera.
Yeah, let's just. We don't even need this camera. Let's go and sell it. You know, that's how I am. So it happens with a lot of things. Even at church, you know, when he doesn't want to talk, because he said, like, he already mentioned something about communication. So sometimes I'll tell him that there's no one available to serve this Sunday, we might have to serve. When I can see that he's not entertaining that conversation, my mind will go to, let's just text the pastors and tell them we're no longer going to be leading this department because we don't have capacity, obviously, if we can't even talk about it. So I would just want to abort on mission. So that's just one of the red flags, and I'm really working on it. Hey, that one is very hard, hey? Because I feel like I feel free once I know, okay, we're not shooting. Vela, we don't have YouTube, so I don't even have to think about it.
So that's like your coping mechanism of something not working out, where you're just saying, why not? It's not happening. Let it not happen at all.
Let's just live knowing we don't have a YouTube channel to think about it. To think about,
my other one is me. I think it's sort of linked to the communication, like with phone calls. Geesh, I hate phone calls, guys. I hate phone calls that sometimes I would have to talk myself into answering a phone call. Like,
even if it's from me.
It's I can't. So, you know, sometimes you'd be calling me and then I'm looking at this phone, I'm like, why is this person calling me while I'm eating? And then I'll have to tell myself, no, they don't know that I'm eating. And then I'll be like, why is this one calling me while I'm driving? Like, it's never at the right time. I think conversations that I don't know how they're gonna go, I don't really enjoy them. Because you're gonna call me
Yeah.
And then now I'm just gonna have to run with the conversation because you probably have a reason why you are calling me. I don't really have, I have not really been thinking about talking to you.
Yeah.
So now when I have to talk, and then, you know, sometimes telephone conversations, you have to laugh, you know, those kind of things.
But I think it's not just, a lot of people hate phone calls. A lot of people, like I'm going to expose our friend Loiter. Like I know Loiter, when you call, it's like, after it's like, okay, after the phone call.
Yeah, there's a lot. I remember I called her this other one time, I needed help. And then she says, call you after this meeting or whatever, call you later. I'm still waiting for that phone call.
Hey, recently.
Yeah.
Like because she's planning it first and then
yes. So
I'm like, hey, let me check up on her. And then she's like, yeah, I'll call you after this meeting.
It never happens, guys.
We're still waiting for the phone call later.
We're hoping that at some point she'll get a time and then she's gonna call us back. But I'm guessing it's just a thing.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're just not in a good space to be talking to this person, and on any other given time you could have actually appreciated the phone call. And then it happened yesterday with my brother as well, Utamapra. He called me in the morning. Now I don't want to talk in the morning. I think I was preparing for church actually. Yeah, I was preparing for church. And then he called me. I was like, no, I'm not answering this phone call. I'll call it because I know like we'll be loud, we'll be laughing, we'll be cracking jokes. I was like, not now. And then I called him after church. He didn't pick up as well. So I don't know.
That's his page.
He's like, no. I'm thinking maybe he's like, now you want to talk and I'm done. Or maybe now he's not in a good space. So sometimes you just have to force yourself and talk to the person. And it's not a good habit. With you, I try and force myself to pick up.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, because you hardly ever call.
I'm not gonna be like,
you're not just gonna call. Hey, how you doing? I was just checking. Like it's because of something. But you know when you forget like to say something, you call me. You ask me, hey, I'm here, pick and get what?
That's because also you're not good with text as well.
And then you call again, like, oh, I forgot. There's this and that. I'm like, yeah, you can get it. No. Oh, hey, please just check if there's. I'm like, oh no, now
but
you are
love,
really.
To my defense, name. Like I'll make a recent example.
Yeah.
Like I was driving that other time. I was driving, so I couldn't text you. So I said, hey babe, please order thingy for us. Then I'll go and collect.
Yeah.
Then I drop. And then when I got there, I sent you a message to say, hey, love, were you able to place the order so that I can go and collect? You didn't respond. Then I only called after 5 minutes because I know you don't like phone calls. I only called after 5 minutes. So sometimes I would call because I know.
So it's text and phone calls.
Yes, because I know sometimes you wouldn't respond to the text message. So I'm like, let me just call because I need your answer right now.
So if only I own a guys, but it's not really my preferred thing. Like I'll read a text like the next day and people will be thinking ignoring them, and then when you reply to them, they no longer have anything to say to you. What's your third one?
My third one is that I can be just a little bit vindictive. Yeah, just a bit, you know. But I think it was like worse when we were like in a bad space in our relationship before we got married. I think now it's better. So for me, if you do something wrong to me, I'll accept your apology. But if I can see that you haven't really learned the lesson, I would want to do something similar just to show you how I felt. Know how it feels. Like when I can see, especially if it's something that you're going to keep doing and you're going to keep apologizing, I'll say, actually, you know what, I'm just going to show you how this thing feels so that you understand where I'm coming from. And then I'll think that maybe after you experience it yourself, then you
have a very good understanding.
Yes. For instance, like, I'll go back to that thing of like when I want to have a conversation with you and you are not available and you seem irritated, like why am I bringing this up while you just woke up? You would have an important thing, like something important that you want to discuss with me, but I haven't done that. But sometimes I would think when you're doing it, I'm like, you know what, there's gonna be that one time when he wants to discuss something important with me, then I'll just be irritated and not want to discuss it as well. So that's my red flag.
Yeah, guys, we've only shared three that we can think of. Maybe there's
But
others.
they're so big, hey?
Yeah, I mean,
Makes
a
me
red
feel
flag.
like
The
a
reason
bad
why, the reason why it's called the red flag, it's
Yeah.
because it's a red flag. Like
Yeah.
it's. So I'm guessing it's big, and I'm sure elenemfam also has like their own red flags that
Yes.
they're working on, or maybe tell your partner as well. You know that you are aware of this red
Yeah,
flag.
but
and
it's so hard,
you know,
like,
how it makes them feel. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
But like, you don't go and tell your partner, these are your red flags.
Yeah, no. Hey, yeah, it could work out very differently. You could end up with a red face.
Oh, wait, wow. Sounding like a Tyler Perry movie.
May your neighbors respect you,
Troubles neglect you.
family embrace you,
And God bless
you,
you. We love
and
you,
may your
elenemfam.
shame and pain be shame pain.
Hi, guys.